Hello everyone, and welcome back to Phantasy Star 3. If you remember what happened last time, we finally went through the dungeon, and then we finally got on a rocket ship. Not a rocket pack, but a rocket ship. After flying through the rocket ship, we heard a voice saying that now we see what our true world is. Our true world is not actually a planet, but actually we live on a satellite. So now we actually flew to the other satellite to stop the cyborg invasion, which we're on now. So, this area is actually it's also kind of mazy as well. We're gonna have to, in order to actually find the mastermind of the cyborg invasion, we once again have to go through another basement dungeon area. Unfortunately, this one's a little bit more harder than any other maze dungeons we had to do, like the dungeon before. Also, this is the last area before we actually move in to chapter 3. So after this will actually start up chapter 3. And chapter 3 for which way I pick is actually going to be a little long. In chapter 3, there's going to be a few things I'm going to do, and I'm going to show that if you actually happen to pick the other storyline to start chapter 2, things you have to do before you start chapter 3. Like I said before, though, if you do the long part of chapter 3, chapter 2 is very short. All you have to do is just find all the final items, level out your party members, and then go fight the final boss, and that's it. When you do the storyline, like direction I'm going, it doesn't matter who you actually happen to pick, because yes, once we actually finish this final boss off, there's actually going to be another storyline change to go to chapter 3, and I'll actually get to that when we start off chapter 3 about where our starting points are going to be, and everything after this when we get to our decision making, and that'll be the start of chapter 3. But anyway, we get to pick from the two girls in our party. You probably can know which two girls they are, and we get to start off on the next journey to finish, to go and finish this game at chapter 3. Now, like I said before, if you decide to pick the longer storyline, all you have to do is just find out the final weapons, level up your party, fight the final boss. That's it. You're done. What I have to do now is I have to find certain parts in order to find the final weapons, and then I have to gather the final weapons, level everybody up, get a couple more party members, and then I'll be able to fight the final boss. So this is the reason why I kind of say this is actually going to be the longer pathway I'm taking this time, because it's going to take me a good little while to actually probably get, because I have to find all these special component parts. Then I have to do a whole bunch of other side quest stuff, and then I have to find the final weapons, and then I have to find the final techniques, and then I have to level up my party, and then I'm gonna fight the final boss. So it's gonna take a good little while to get through it. But we'll get to that when we get to chapter 3 or generation 3. So what you want to do is that while you're outside of the satellite, you want to keep actually walking around and going around. As you're going around, you're actually going to find some stairs. Go up the right flight of stairs, and then you're going to find this underground dungeon here. And this is the underground dungeon I spoke of. This is actually going to be our final battle before we start chapter 3. Now the problem is, though, as you see here, as you're walking across some of these platforms, some of the platforms are kind of broken. This is the reason why this is kind of a hard place to be at too, is because of the broken platforms. Because sometimes you may end up thinking you're going the right way, and then you may wind up and then you may see a broken platform there. So kind of messed up how that is. Also, you're gonna have those enemies in the background that look like they have the lady robots in the background that have their legs up. All they do is kick at you, but they have like a very powerful kick, and it's actually really powerful when they actually connect it. Most of the time they'll do about 39, 40, 50 damage. I say about 40 to 50 damage, depending on what character you have equipped, and what armor you have. A character equipped different what the levels are. So yeah, so all we really need to do is that the final boss is going to be, he's kind of like in the center, but he's kind of like in the southeast corner of this area. So once we get to the final boss, all we gotta do is fight him, and then we are basically done with chapter 2, and then we get to, like I said before, we get to make our choice to start off chapter 3. Now, one thing about it was is that as you're progressing through this dungeon, this final dungeon area, trying to watch out for the broken platforms and trying to navigate through, this area is gonna hold like a whole lot of very strong cyborgs. So you can actually do a good amount of leveling before you can actually go and fight out the final boss. Like I said before, this is actually going to be the final chapter. So, once again, make sure that before you go and also go and fight the final boss of this chapter or generation, that you actually give any healing items that Ayan is holding on to, like Diamates, Trimates, Monomates, antidotes, anything, to Ren and Miyu before you go and fight the final boss, just in case. Because when you start out chapter 3, you're not going to have those items. You'll have the key items, like you'll have the power topaz, you'll have the sapphire, you'll have all the gems, you even still have the monitor, and you also have the equipment, but you won't have the healing items. Kind of annoying, especially later on in the game, if you actually find like a surprise Stardew. Because, there was actually one time when I actually played this on myself one time, that I actually found a Stardew, or Star Mist, whatever it's called, Star something, and I was actually going through, and I was actually trying to hold on to it, and when I got to the next chapter, when I got there, the game was like, nope, sorry, you can't take it with you, and I'm like, no! So yeah, this is the reason why I kind of said, before you go fight the final boss, make sure you give, not really like equipment, but you actually want to give like any healing items, like antidotes, anything else like this, to either Ren or Miyu, before you finish chapter 2 or generation 2. So once you find this cyborg here, as we get to the fight, as you find the cyborg there that looks like Ren, after this battle, go and talk to him. Make sure, like I said before, make sure you give any healing items that Ayan's hold on to Miyu or Ren. Go talk to him. You kind of find out his name is Siren. Siren was actually, Siren actually came up. What happens though? He actually served Aurora Cario, but then Leia forced him there. So then he's been there for about 1,000 years. 1,000 years he's basically been there, stuck on the satellite. Now now he's kind of pissed off at Leia, and so now he wants to attack Leia. He wants to attack all the land forces. So now what you have to do is that, like I said, this is actually going to be the final boss fight right here. So you just want to, take out his cyborg enemies and then take him down. Now, don't really worry about his attacks. They're not real that powerful. Just, keep yourself healed. Just keep pounding at him. Once you take out his cyborgs, pound at him as hard as you can. And after a few points of damage, he'll go down. Now, one thing about this, though, is that he does have really strong physical defense. So, if you can, I would say hit him with magic, or either use Ren's gun, but just keep yourself healed and just keep pounding damage at him over and over again. Just don't let up. And after a few hits, he goes down, and then you'll be done, like I said before, with chapter 2. And then we move in, and then we start to make our choice to start off chapter 3. After doing the final hit to him, you get the last amount of experience, and then after a while, and then Simon will finally say his last thing. He says, you know, you have won a single battle. The war is now over. I will return as Simon disappears. So then now Prince Anne has now fulfilled his duty, and now he gets, and now the King Risk says he has to marry somebody. So I'm going to end the video here, and on the next video I will make my decision of who to start off with chapter 3. So hope everybody enjoyed chapter 2, and I'll see everybody in chapter 3. This is Ryu here. Later.